Welcome to the Anderson and Lindhardt Show. This is episode 28. In this episode, we end up talking about something we had no intention of talking about, but it's awesome. So Carter and I had planned on discussing and talking about life updates, kind of where we're at in life, what we've done the past nine or so months. And we kind of started out that way with my life update, and the conversation quickly took a turn, a good turn, into health and sugar consumption, big food companies, things like this. So there is a lot of value to be extracted from this episode, and we are very excited to release it. We're going to get Carter's life update on episode 29, so stay tuned, and thank you so much for listening, y'all. God bless.
All right, welcome back, Anderson Lindhardt Nation. This is episode 28.
28.
Is it 28?
It's 28, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I wasn't super confident.
It's crazy.
28. It's the Adrian Peterson episode.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like him. Dude, I was thinking, so at the beginning when we started the podcast, we did a few and then took I went back to Virginia. And then when I got back to Utah, we still were trying to figure out a good way to do it. And then, so I was thinking if we had been doing 2 a week since October of last year, which is when we first posted the first one, how many would we have so far?
November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. That's 9 months. We'll just say 4 a week. So four times, or 2 a week for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 9, 72. I think.
Dang. You're probably right.
Dude, that would be insane.
But yeah, I was just curious. I was like, because now that that they're starting to pile up pretty quickly.
It's incremental improvement. I can never say that stupid thing, but it grows exponentially.
Yeah, you get compound interest and incremental improvement. Dude, that is so true. I've been seeing that in the gym like crazy. Like, for example, a month ago, maybe about a month or so ago, I was going to talk to you about this too. I've been starting to use kettlebells a lot more.
Those are okay.
Yeah, just the bell with for anyone who's listening and didn't
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Most people listen, but it's just pretty much a metal ball with a handle on it, pretty much. Anyways, I've been using those a lot more and learning workouts with them because I'm learning like how amazing they are for full body strength. They're so awesome. And I used to do abs every day. Now I'm not really targeting just abs that much because kettlebell exercises use your core so much. Anyways, there's this one called kettlebell swings, which you've probably seen people do it. You're kind of like it works out the same muscles as a deadlift. So it's a little bit of your hamstrings, your glutes, and then your whole posterior chain, like your lower back and up your spine. So it's like super good workout, and it's kind of a conditioning workout because if you do it long enough, your heart rate gets real high. But I've been doing a little bit heavier, so I don't do it that long. Anyways, I did it like a month for the first time ever, and my hamstrings, I don't know if my hamstrings have ever been this wrecked. Like maybe when I first started lifting, but not anytime recently. Like they were so tight, they were so sore. Only my hamstrings and a little bit of my glutes, but it was weird. Like literally for 5 or 6 days, my hamstrings were kind of wrecked a little bit. And so anyways, I've been doing kettlebell swings more, and I did a bunch today with a 45-pound kettlebell. When I first did them, I used a 25, and it's just crazy how fast the body has adapted because like I feel great. Like I feel a little bit of tiredness and soreness, so a little bit in my back and legs, but barely. Like I could do more tomorrow. It's just like, wow, like a month ago I was out for like 5 days. Like I couldn't do kettlebell swings for like a week after the first time I did them, and now I can do them like every other day if I wanted. And obviously I could go super hard and just put myself out for the week, but I'm not going to do that. But it's just crazy to see like, wow, at the beginning of June when I started going back to the gym, like there's just no way I could be working out as hard as I am now. But it's just started slower, and now all of a sudden it's only 2 months later, and it's like, wow, I can do a lot more already. So it's been cool to see.
Yeah, and like for me, it's kind of interesting because it's been the opposite thing where like I didn't do bench press for like it was probably like 2 weeks. Like
Mm.
I had just done biceps or I just hadn't done bench press for probably 2 weeks, and like it was crazy. Like just I didn't do it for a little bit, and like my chest was the sorest it has been in like
Mm.
forever. It was like I had a hard time. Like I usually like will sleep on like my side, and like it was
Yeah.
like painful. It was like pinching my. I'm like, holy crap! I have
Dang.
not been this sore. And I mean, and I like I'm still trying to be careful with my shoulder. So I was like only going like
Oh,
75%. Like and so it's just like crazy. Like, you take a little bit of time off, and it's almost like, it can go this way, but it can also go
yeah, it's
this,
true
it
either
can go
way.
up or down. Sorry,
Dude,
I
I
gotta
had
make
a
sure.
oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Got to make sure you're explaining what you're
Yeah.
doing with your hands.
Yeah.
Dude, we talk with our hands a lot, so I try to remember to like explain it cuz I'm like, wait a second, most people listen. Like our YouTube views are pretty much I think the last one got 5 so far. But it's like which makes sense cuz now that we're on Spotify, Apple. Are we on is it Amazon? Does Amazon do podcasts too? They
think
probably do.
I think we are. I can double check, but I believe we're on that in
I don't
Google.
know who uses that. Oh, Google too. I'm sure there might be some people. I think
Because
most people
we have
use
a
Apple and Spotify.
we have a download from Google Podcasts.
Oh,
So
really?
shout out. I think it was 3 of them. So shout out to
Oh,
whoever is listening
cool.
to us on Google Podcasts.
Yeah, I didn't know how many people used Google and Amazon. I'm sure Amazon has podcasts. They have everything.
But yeah, compared to Apple and Spotify, it's like a
Yeah,
1%.
for sure. But yeah, dude, when I first did my chest workout back in June, I just did a little bit of bench press and I think like a tricep exercise and one more chest exercise. Cable crossover where I really just target the chest. It's a lighter exercise, but yeah, my whole like my pecs were so sore. I was like, what in the heck? And now it's like I'll do a pretty hard chest day and then I'm like, oh yeah, I feel fine. Like I'll be totally good to go in 2 days. Like totally. So it's crazy how fast the body adapts. It's like
Yeah.
mind blowing.
It's almost like there's literally no plateauing at all. Like you're either going up or you're down. And it's like it's kind of scary because you're like, dang, like if I, stop doing this for a month, it's like you are going to decrease a good amount. So it almost like puts a little pressure on you, whether it's spiritual or physical or, education. It's like, you take a month off, and sometimes it can be good for you to take a break, but it's like, you're going to decrease pretty quickly. It's crazy how that works. You got to be so consistent at everything all the time. But it's, obviously that's why we have improvement. So
Yeah, no, that's so true. But anyways, yeah, like you were saying before we hit the record button, kind of give little life updates because it really has. It's crazy how fast time goes by because we really haven't even given life updates at all since the first time we ever recorded a podcast. I feel like maybe a little bit here and there, but not like um but anyways, yeah, I'm kind of excited to tell you about like
yeah.
what I said because it is kind of personal, but I honestly don't mind letting people kind of see into the way I think because it'll help me just to speak it out loud anyway. But
Yeah. So maybe we can both start with kind of like updating like our kind of what our work situations are and kind of what we're doing to try and make money, including the podcast, kind of maybe like what you've been in charge of recently and what I've been in charge of, and just we can just go from there.
yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, yeah, so
but let's start with the story because I'm interested.
yeah, so I'll start with like so how I got the job first, just real fast. So like when Riley and I had decided to move to Utah, I don't know what it is. Like I said it in that story I told about how I graduated high school. Maybe this gets me in trouble, but I just have this like stupid confidence that stuff is going to work out. I don't know where it comes from, but I just have this like stupid confidence where I'm like, I'm gonna have a job. which is it's really irrational. Like you would think from a rational perspective, it's like, dude, you need to be looking for a job. Like you're moving to Utah in 2 months and you're going to be married and you're going to have an apartment with bills. Like get a job, dude. But I was just like chilling. I was like, yeah, it'll all work out, bro. Like, but I don't know. It's just this
I think it's
confidence. I don't know how,
faith. I
I
think
don't
it's
know how to
faith.
explain it. Yeah. And it's not like naivety, maybe a little bit, honestly, but yeah, it wasn't like I was not doing anything, but it's not like I was on Indeed every day looking for jobs. And so
No, I was the
anyways,
same way. Like when I moved up to Rexburg, everyone's like,
yeah.
you gotta get a job. I mean, I remember having conversations with you about certain parents just like grilling me about not having a job, moving up there. And I was like, I'm gonna get a job. And like within 2 weeks, I had 2 job offers of more
uh,
money than that certain person's kid that was also living up there that had like been planning for like 4 months. And it was just like I'm the same way where I'm
yeah.
just like, dude, it's gonna work out, and it always does. And so yeah,
Dude.
I the same
Yeah,
way.
man. Dude, that is freaking funny because it's true. It's like I had this dumb confidence. Like kids at work would ask me, was doing construction. That's everyone's teasing each other constantly, and you have to have thick skin. And I did, and we all liked each other for the most part. And they'd be like, "So what are you doing when you get to Utah, like for work?" I'm like, "Dude, I have no idea." They're like, "Dude, what? You gotta get something." I'm like, "Nah, it'll work out." Like I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna find
Right.
something. And then moved to Utah in December. And for the month of December, I was just living with my mom and my dad. But because Riley and I were getting married at the end of December, and Sage Thornock reached out to me, and he's like, "Hey, this company, I did an internship here in high school, and I've been back ever since I got home from my mission, and they're hiring now, and they're growing rapidly." Fun fact: so Tukios is the company. When Nick and I got hired there, the beginning of January, before Nick and I got hired there, they had 23 employees in the company. So from 2010, when it was established, to 2020, they had built up 23 employees. Now we since January 6th, when I and Nick Jensen started, dude, he's my bro. He's so funny. I love that guy. But when we started and a few other employees started, since then, so since 2021, we've hired 21 people.
Wow.
And my team is getting 2 new hires, one tomorrow and one in 2 weeks. So that's going to be literally 23. So double. Crazy. So it's growing really fast. Anyways, Sage hit me up. He's like, "Hey man, company, blah, blah, blah. It's a sales position. It's part-time. You get paid 14, 15 an hour plus commissions." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty sick." He's like, you'll average about $20 an hour with the commissions. He's like, "At least I did." And so I do the
He's
interview
like, well, at
process.
least I mean, I average like $40 an hour, but
He's
I
like,
mean,
"Yeah,
you'll probably.
I averaged like 26, but he actually did. He's a freaking baller." But yeah, that's pretty much, he told me what he averaged. I was like, "Dang." So it's like, okay, that's a part-time position. I don't know, this camera's just like kind of weird, but whatever. It's 1080p, 60 frames per second, but it just looks like an Android camera, so I don't like it. Um,
Remember our
any,
remember our joke in zone conference where
yes.
we put up the picture of like, I
Oh,
can't even remember
everyone loved that. What
who
was
it was.
that?
It was like Moroni holding something, and it was like
Oh, it
super
was
super
yeah.
blurry. We'd be like, "Oh, we took this on Elder Anderson's Samsung Android or whatever
His
S3."
Samsung J3.
Yeah, J3. Everyone would laugh. That was a good built-in joke right there.
That was a really good built-in joke. Yeah, like, yeah, sorry about the quality. We had to take that with Carter's J3. Everyone loved that. And then President Drew Bay was always said, "You guys really got to upgrade from these R2D2 phones. These are honestly though, they
Every
suck."
time R2D2.
Yeah, so funny. But anyways, so it worked out. I went through the interview process, got hired, started. Riley and I got married on December 29th, and then we went on like a mini moon just to Heber City, Park City area, just for like 2.5 days. And then we came back to here, moved into here, and then 4 days later I started the job. So there was like no time wasted. So I've been there now for almost 7 months. In a few days it'll be 7 months. And I've had an interesting journey there, had a lot of like ups and downs as far as numbers go.
Mhm.
But as far as emotion goes with the job, I never really, save a few times, I had never really attached my like emotional state to the numbers. So I like my boss started calling me Zen because he's like, dude, you like don't, you have these highs and lows with your numbers, but like you're so steady with it. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I just don't really care. And so like I kind of want to preface all this by saying like I am extremely grateful for this job. Like I have been. I'm so grateful Sage offered the opportunity to me, and that my boss and the owner hired me, and that I've been able to work here. It's such an awesome company. The people are awesome. We have such a good time. We play mini basketball every hour. Every hour we play P, like pig, but just one letter, so it goes by fast. And so I love the company, and the company is amazing. Like if you like sales or customer support or technology and you want to work in a good company, like go apply there. It's so awesome. The culture is amazing, but it's just not a tight fit for Reiss Lindhardt, you know.
Mhm.
So the company's amazing. I freaking love it, and
And I
I
think
will
our
rep it
listeners
forever.
understand that, like that,
Yeah.
you've talked about your love-hate relationship with sales. So
Yeah. And so I do want people to know I love this company. Like I'm actually wearing the hat right now. I just realized this is the Tukios hat, established 2010. But
my camera's off 1 second.
oh,
I
what
don't-
the,
Okay, we're good.
oh yeah, you like froze. Anyways, so I don't know. I've just been having a lot of thoughts like the past 2 months, I would say, where I'm like, man, should I quit? No, I need the job. Should I quit? I hate it. No, I like it. I'm just having a bad mindset. Well, I don't know if you're having a bad mindset. And so just like these conversations in my head constantly. And it's just hard to figure out what the heck is going on, you know, in
Right.
my head. And so I've really been putting a lot of thought into it because I'm not looking for a job that I love right now, you know, and I think
Yeah.
work, even if you're doing the thing that you've always dreamt of doing, there's still going to be work involved, and work's work for a reason. It's not like it's completely enjoyable the whole time. And I don't expect to find a job like that, especially while I'm 22. Like I don't mind working a job that I don't really like. So I'm going to kind of take everybody kind of through my thought process that I've been having, and it's going to be really rough and probably kind of messy. But anyway, so I've just been having these thoughts a lot like, man, like maybe I shouldn't be in a position where all I do is sell. Like I like certain aspects of sales and I want to be an entrepreneur. So I know I'm going to use sales because you need sales in order to grow anything.
Right.
But just doing it in a full-time position, you know, even though I'm working part-time hours, it's like the job is only a selling job. I'm like doing it in that capacity, just it's not working for me. I tried the door to door. There was parts I loved, there's parts I didn't. I've tried this, there's parts I love, there's parts I don't. And so I've just been putting a ton of thought into it because I'm like, okay, this is a good job. The company's amazing. They give me lunch money. They cater lunch every Friday. They let me off an hour early every Friday. I can kind of make my own hours to a degree. I have a lot of flexibility. If I need to leave early for something, I can. If I need to come in late for something, I can. Like, it's just, I'm like, oh my gosh, like my rational brain's like, you're dumb to leave this company. But my gut tells me, dude, just leave. And it's so weird. And I usually will always, not usually, I end up always trusting my gut in the end,
Mm-hmm.
my heart, my gut. And so, anyways, I had a talk with my boss today because he sees he's so awesome. I love that guy. He sees all of us one on one every month.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he'll have one on one with us. He's really cool. He's such a good. His managerial style is very just. There's no micromanagement at all. He works with you one on one once a month. He knows us. He knows how to motivate others. Like we have some kids on our team that are very competitive, and he knows how to motivate them. And then he has kids more like me and some other kids who aren't as competitive as far as sales go, and he knows how to motivate us. And so he's just so good. But anyways, like my numbers have just been like way low the past few weeks, and I've been trying to reconcile that. I'm like, I understand, like, if you have low numbers for a while in a job like this, they fire you because not because they don't like you, but it's
Mm-hmm.
because they're paying you hourly to do what? You know, they're paying you hourly to sell. And so if you're not selling, then they're kind of just um they're spending money poorly. They could be spending it better. And so I understand that. And so I'm like, I tried to motivate myself by saying, okay, dude, if I don't get the numbers up, then I'm gonna have to quit or I'm gonna get fired, you know. So and I'd rather quit, you know. Most people would. And so
they're like, you're fired. You're like, no, I quit.
no, actually I quit. It's like cliche because it's like no one wants to get fired, bro. But anyways, so I just you would think that would motivate somebody, right? You would think it would. And I would think it would too. I would be like, yeah, if your job's on the line, I would think that you would get your numbers up. But for some reason, it hasn't. And my boss asked me today if I'm competitive. And I said, you know, in certain areas of life, I'm extremely competitive. Take the gym, for example. I'm so competitive, mostly with myself. I'm so competitive to like, I love the weight room and I love the gym. Like if you ask me to go train, then I'm really competitive. I'm going to show up. I'm going to out train the guy next to me. I'm going to push myself on and on and on. And I can do that. Like I'm so competitive with myself that I do that every day just alone. Like I push myself past, like I have to kind of like, I have to talk in a way to myself while I'm working out. It's like if we were working out together and I'd be like, come on, man, like do another one or 5 pounds heavier or whatever. You know, I have to do that with myself, but I love it. And so I'm like, you know, with the weight room, I'm really competitive um with being intellectual, like intellectually, I'm very competitive. Like I want to know a lot. And it's not really like a competitiveness with like other people. It's more so with myself. Like it's like I want to learn more. Like I want to read all these books on the shelf and retain what I'm reading and learn more. Like so intellectually, I'm very competitive. And I was like, but you know, in the sales room, I'm not. And I said, like, there's just a string inside of me that's not in there. If the string was in there, it could be plucked and it would play and vibrate and I would go sell a ton. But it's like, but it's not in there. And I don't know if that's just me having a crappy mindset or if that's just me, blah, 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 blah. But the more I've thought about it, the more I think that it's just everyone has a nature and there's not a perfect job for your nature because your nature is constantly changing and it's very complex, but there are jobs that fit your nature better than others. And like I said before, I'm not looking for a job that I absolutely love to go to right now. You know, maybe I should change that thought because maybe I could find one, you know? So I actually take that back because, you know, you get what you ask for in life. So I actually do want a job that I love. And I'm not expecting to love it 24/7 because there's going to be work involved. It's not like do you think I love editing the podcast every time? No, it's like, oh crap, I got to go like edit it up, chop it up, make sure it's all good, get the intro put in. It's not like I thoroughly enjoy doing that.
Like graphics is a super tedious thing. And it's like, sure, it's fun when you see the final result, but it's like, man, it's kind of a lot of work sometimes to just like sit down and grind. But it's like, you love what you're doing, but the like specific application, what you're doing isn't always fun. Like a missionary, like it's the same thing. Like there's things you were like, this is so sweet, but then there's like, I do not, this sucks. And so I see what I get. I totally get what you're saying.
It's like the weight room. Like when I'm in the middle of a set I did biceps today. I did back and biceps. And I was kind of finishing off with biceps because I kind of do like a back and bicep day and I'll do most of the focus on the back. And then the next back and bicep day that week, I'll do more focus on the biceps. Anyways, I was finishing off with a bicep workout, just a 20-pound dumbbell. And the reason I'm using one is because I'm trying to create some core stability. So I'm standing up on my feet and I'll hold whichever arm doesn't have the dumbbell, I'll hold it out to create some core stability because I don't want my body to be leaning. I want the core to be activated. So it's kind of a core workout at the same time. But I was just doing like these outside angle curls, hammer curls, and then these inside angle curls. And I was doing like 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, switch on, and then switch back and then switch back. So by the end, my biceps, like not only were they burning, but they were actually like hurting. Like to do the curling motions, like, holy crap, that hurts. Because I know, you know, the muscle's getting worked. It's not like I'm like, oh, this feels so good. Like this sucks in the moment. But as soon as I throw the dumbbell on the ground and I shake it out, I'm like, heck yeah. This feels
like in the mirror. You're just,
yeah. Like you just feel so good. You're like, yes, like I love this. But it's like in the exact moment of me doing it, I'm like, when is this gonna end? It burns so bad. But anyway, so that's kind of how it is. But I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, so back to this job. You would think it would motivate somebody. hey, your job's on the line, but here's where this stupid confidence comes in, where I'm like, maybe it does get me in trouble sometimes, but it's just like, I'm just like, I'm gonna find something, and I believe that something better can come, because for a while I was having these thoughts of like, oh, you're never gonna find a company better than this. I'm like, well, that's not true. If there's one of them, there's more, and there's always something better than something. There's always somebody who's better at you than something, and there's always a company that's better than the one you're working at it. And and so you just got to find it, and you got to be open, and that's why you get what you ask for in life. Because if you ask for, hey, I want a part-time job that pays $15 or more an hour, then you're going to go on Indeed or on whatever, and that's all your brain is going to see. But it's like, no, I'm open to opportunities. Like Riley, she wanted a new job. She was very open. She was looking on Indeed, found this company, looked at it on Google Maps, saw that there was a different company literally in the same building next to it, looked them up on Indeed. They weren't hiring at all. She called them anyways, said, hey, are you guys hiring? They said, actually, we are hiring. Come in for an interview. And she got hired. And so it's like, is that luck? Well, you could look at it that way. Maybe it's luck, but maybe it's because she was open. She was like, I'll call this company, even though there's nowhere on any employment site that they're listed.
Right.
But
I
it's
mean, the
like,
graphic design job I got in Rexburg, they weren't hiring. And it's like my cousin just said, hey, you should go talk to him. Boom.
cool. See? But if you're closed off and you're like, no, I'm looking for a job that's blah 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 meets these exact criteria, then that's all you're gonna see. And so anyways, I believe something better can come, which, like I said, this company is absolutely phenomenal, so that'll be quite the task. But I believe there is something better out there for me. And anyways, so I talked to my boss today, and that's kind of how the conversation went. And I'm going on this 10-day trip starting on Saturday. We're going to Virginia to mom and dad's house out there. And he's like, hey, here's the plan. Like, go out there, have fun. He said, F work, just have a good time, just forget about it. And but he said, but this Friday before you leave, I want you to have a plan. Are you gonna come back? And he says he's gonna give me 2 weeks when I get home. See, this is actually kind of personal, but who cares?
Mm-hmm.
I get 2 weeks when I come home, work weeks. And in those 2 weeks, it's either time, I think Riley's getting home. I can't, these headphones are noise canceling, so I can kind of hear stuff going on. Anyways, I get 2 weeks, work weeks when I get back home from Virginia. So 10 days, 10 work days. But by this Friday, I need to have made a decision. Well, am I going to come back and use those 2 weeks as like my last 2 weeks as I'm looking for a new job? Or am I going to come back and use those 2 weeks to prove myself and say, hey, I'm actually staying. I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to be a good employee for you guys. And I was like, yeah, I can decide that by Friday. And been thinking about it today. That's kind of where my mind's been today. That's why I've kind of been forgetting some things, but I've been thinking about it. And I'm like, I just feel like it's time to part ways. Like, it's served me well. I made some amazing relationships with people that I'm definitely going to keep, my boss being one of them. And so it's like, I've made some amazing relationships. I've learned some amazing things, on and on and on. And maybe it's just the end of an era for me. It didn't last as long as I thought it would. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm looking for something new. And it's interesting to kind of say that. But and I was very open with my boss. I'm not somebody who's gonna shy away at saying things. I was like, yeah, man, like, I've been looking at new jobs. Like, I want something new. I don't want to be a drag to the team. I want your team to flourish. And I don't want to be the guy who's been here for 7 months, who's not. And then I'm like, you think that would motivate me to not be that guy, but it doesn't. It just doesn't. And it's like, I could push myself, but pushing yourself over and over and over gets really tiring and annoying. And it just you start to use the word hate. And I don't like that word unless I need to use it.
How many people do you know that say I hate my job?
Yeah, it's like, man, well, yeah, it's like, yeah, there's aspects of my job I don't like, but hate's a strong word. And I try not to use it very often unless I really mean it. And so, like, I try to use it carefully because it's a strong word. You want to use strong words carefully. So I don't hate this job, not by any means. But there's moments where I do. There's moments where I'm kind of wrapped up in emotion. I'm like, man, I hate this. Like, whatever. Every job I've had moments like that. I'm sure most people have.
Right.
But anyways, that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's really interesting. My thoughts on it are just, I know I'm good at sales. Like I really do. I'm not claiming to be an expert or like a professional at sales, but I'm better than the average Joe at sales if I really want to be. But the funny thing is, the most time I don't really want to be. Like on the doors, knocking doors, selling pest control. Like there was a couple days where I had 5 or 6 sales a day, which is a really good day. I think I don't. What's the average? 1.8, I think, a day with door-to-door pest control, at least in my company, or something like that. Company wide, not even 2 sales a day was the average. So you come home with 6 sales under your belt, like that's a freaking good day. That's over $1,000 you just made that day. And like that day you just made over $1,000. And I did that a couple times. And I had an extremely high dopamine surge rushing through my body. So I felt amazing. It's like, holy crap. Like I'm driving home. It's pitch black outside. I just been knocking doors all day, but I don't even care because I'm like, I just made $1,200. Like this is so sick. But then the next day I'm like, I don't want to do it again. But for most people, like, I just made $1,200. Let me go do it again. Let me go do it again. Let me go do it again. And like, that's how my manager was in pest control. And he's freaking an animal, dude. He's made, first year, he made, who knows, obviously people are all stingy about how much money they make. He didn't tell me. I'm assuming he probably made 140 grand his first summer. Second summer makes 300 grand. This summer, who knows? He owns a branch now. In his third year, he owns a whole branch of his own. I imagine he's probably going to make 400,000 this year in 5 months. So it's like, look, the potential's there, but it's like, you would think it would motivate me, but it just didn't, dude. And I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe it's a bad mindset. And then I check my mindset. I'm like, well, no, like I'm a motivated person. Like it's not fake that I wake up every morning and go to the gym. Like I really am pushing myself, and it's something I want to do. I don't care what other people think. Like my story is not to show, hey, everybody, look at me, I'm going to the gym. Like, no, I couldn't care less about that. I'm going for me because I enjoy it, and I've explained why I do the story. And so, which I've seen a lot of cool stuff coming from it, by the way. And it's really, it makes me so grateful. So happy to see
also,
that stuff.
Shout out to Matthew Smith. Did you see Elder Gabrilczyk's story?
Dude,
His arms are getting huge.
Okay. I want to give him a shout out by name. I subtweeted him in one of the podcasts. I was saying this kid, this guy. So Matthew Smith, I hope he doesn't mind me doing this, but Matthew Smith reached out to me. He's such a humble, hardworking man. Like I appreciate
Dude,
him
with
so
those
much.
arms, he doesn't need to be.
Yeah, with those
anymore.
guns, dude. So he reached out to me, I think back in March, and I was working out then still. Like I've never really quit working out ever since I started. You and I have talked about this. Like you haven't either. There's been times where we've ebbed and flowed, but for the most part, we've stayed fairly consistent. So I was still lifting, and he just reached out to me and very, very kind. He said, hey, I saw your before and after picture. When I was in Virginia, I lost a ton of muscle knocking doors because your body cannibalizes itself and it likes muscle. So it eats it. And I didn't have any fat for it to eat. So it just ate my muscle. And so my arms got way smaller. And on my Instagram, you can go see, the crazy thing is in both these pictures, I'd like to kind of pull it up here. In both these pictures, so I don't know. So that's me with an arm pump. So whoever's lifted knows that when you get an arm pump, like your arms can grow like an inch or two.
The hugest.
All the blood's rushing. So these were taken 19 weeks apart. So that's me post door-to-door arm pump. This is me 19 weeks later arm pump. So like obviously a huge difference. And
all right, I'm committing right now. I'm doing a before and after picture.
Yeah, dude,
I don't know when the after picture is gonna be, but I'm taking the before picture today.
Yes, dude. Dude, I should do one too because I'll explain why. But because I've taken like some mirror pics for, you know what I'm saying, some tool pics. But I'd rather like have somebody be like, Mom, can you take a picture of me with my shirt off? I'll have my wife do it. That's way cooler than my mom doing it. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Mom. But anyways,
no, I would agree though. I would rather
dude,
have
you
my
should do
wife
it though.
Just text my wife, be like, hey babe, can you can you take a picture of me?
Yeah, come take a picture of me with my shirt off, please. But anyways, so he hit me up. He's like, hey, I saw that before and after. It's just really cool, like to see somebody who could do that and blah, blah, blah. And like I had muscle memory. So that was part of the reason why I was able to put muscle on quickly again, because I had already been lifting my whole mission. And all throughout high school, I lifted for the most part, ebbs and flows, but for the most part. So it's like my body had muscle memory. So it was able to put on a bunch of muscle pretty quick. But I believe everyone's body for the most part is able to do that. Anyway, so he hit me up. Hey man, I just saw your post back in the summer. I was just, and he was very humble. He just said, I'm not really happy with where my body's at right now. And I was wondering if you could help me learn how to work out a little bit. And I was like, cool, dude, like sucks you're all the way in Southern Utah. I'd love to actually do this in person. But I was like, I can just put together like a 12-week workout thing. It's kind of rough, but if you just kind of follow this for the first 6 to 12 weeks, after that, you can kind of see how it was. And then you can start to play with it. It's kind of like how, if you're just a cook, you need to follow the recipe exactly. But if you're a chef, you just do whatever you want, but you're better than the cook. So I'm like, just be a cook for the first little bit, get the muscle memory down, get the form down, and then you can start playing with it. Because now when I go to the gym, I just do whatever the freak I want. But when I first started working out, I was with my friend. Okay, what are we doing today? How many reps? How many sets? What weight? So that's kind of what he wanted. So I said, okay, do this weight range, do this rep range, do this set range. Here's the workouts, 12 weeks, do this, blah, blah, blah. And bless Elder Gabrilczyk's heart, Colin, love him too. I can't wait to train with those guys. One day I'm going to make it down there to Southern Utah, and we all four of us got to go train. But he really took him under his wing, because Colin is an animal, and started working out with Matthew, and now Matthew is just, I saw that story today of, it's like, oh my gosh, that is so amazing. Like very inspiring to me to see that, to have somebody want to do a goal and then actually sticking with it. It's rare that people do that. So I just props to Matthew Smith, that he's the man. We got to have him on here.
Yeah, I had some inspiration. I think something that we need to do is the A&L transfer challenge, where it's like for 6 weeks you like push yourself to like do more workouts or something, like, and we could figure this out off air, but like trying to like, I don't know, like that happens all the time, where people will start like workout trends.
There's
or
a
like
trend
whatever.
like that going on right now. I heard some guys at work talking about it. Big
You just
trend.
bring it up and being like, hey, yeah, I'm doing the A&L,
Yeah.
transfer challenge, 6-week challenge. And then it's like, it just starts a trend. Dude, that'd be sweet. I'm writing it down.
Yeah. I like that idea, because dude, seriously, if you can just go for 6 weeks, I swear that's the magic number. You get 6 weeks under your belt, and at 6 weeks, you start to get this weird momentum. It's seriously this momentum where you're like, dude, I can do anything. And so now, the past 2 nights, it's been so hot in my room that I've been sleeping kind of poorly, because I like to sleep in the cold.
Right.
And so I've been waking up a bunch and rolling over and getting out of my blanket. And then I get cold, I get in my blanket, then I get hot. So just like this, blah, blah, blah. And then my alarm goes off at 4:55, and I'm like, all right, get out of bed. It's not like, oh, well, I didn't sleep that, because we've talked about this, about deciding.
Right.
It's like, no, I've decided, I've cut off all that other crap, all those thoughts. I've decided that I'm getting out of bed when my alarm goes off. So it's not like, oh, well, I slept poorly last night, I deserve 30 more minutes. It's like, no, you don't. You don't deserve anything. Get up. And dude, it's this momentum. It's weird. It's awesome. I love it. Like you just start feeling this momentum around before 6 weeks, but 6 weeks for sure, you'll feel this momentum. You're just like, going to the gym is easy. Oh my gosh, it's so easy. Why was it so hard for so long? You just do it. It's like Jocko Willink. I think I've told you this. Jocko Willink's like, I have people ask me all the time, how do I eat less sugar? Eat less sugar. How do I get out of bed when my alarm goes off? Set the alarm. When you hear the alarm sound, get up. It's like, honestly, it's like we are making it so much harder than it needs to be. You just do it. And so, and it's funny and it's kind of a joke. And there is some subjectivity there where it's like, well, there are certain tactics that'll help. And there is certain mental issues but it's just fun to kind of say that sometimes, where it's like, yeah, you just do it. And to a degree, it's true. It's like, yeah, when you hear the sound of your alarm going off, then get up. Like, I don't know what else there is to do. Like, get up. Or when you're about to eat sugar, don't. Like, what else it's like,
Yeah.
dude, that's it, bro.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like obviously we've we've discussed this. Waking up is a lot, you're a lot more disciplined than I am. But it's been cool for me to see, like when I've been trying to work on the 40 grams of sugar, like it's pretty easy for me to just like, I decided to just start keeping track. And it's like it's not that hard. It's
Dude,
like
you've been doing amazing at that, by the way.
it's like I like one of my mom's like chocolate chip cookies, it's like 10 grams of sugar. It's like, all right, I can still eat like two or even three and stay under it, and it's like boom, I'm like done for the day. Or like, and I don't know, it's just been like cool. It's like
Yeah.
you just decide, and it's just boom, it's right there. But beforehand, if you would have told, I mean, there was probably days like I was probably hitting like 200 grams of sugar where I'm
Oh, for
just
sure.
like,
Most people are. The average, I think, in America, and obviously it's a rough estimate. Who knows what the freak it is? I think it's higher. The average is 160, 180, 180 grams of freaking sugar a day. Oh my gosh, that's horrible, dude. Most people are eating over 200. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, stop.
Yeah, and I think for me, my biggest thing is that I was snacking on sugar, like
It's so easy
like
and good.
fruit snacks, or even like I realized, like I don't know if you know like the company Lenny and Larry's, the cookie,
No.
um, they make like protein cookies, and I haven't eaten
Oh,
them in a long time because
yes.
they give me like bad poops, but
Oh
like
gosh.
I was looking at it yesterday because I was like craving sugar so bad, and I was like, oh, it's like kind of a healthy cookie. I looked at it; it has like 26 grams of
Mm.
sugar in it, and I was like, this is not a healthy option.
No. And
Th-
see, that's the thing. You get tricked,
Or I'm sure
bro.
like those Gatorade protein bars, those taste freaking amazing. I'm sure they got over 40 grams of sugar.
Yeah, why do they taste so good? And dude, that would be a fun reel to do with us, is because I saw there's this guy
Showing how much sugar are in
yeah,
things.
the Code of the Extraordinary Mind, that guy. And I've seen a lot of authors that I read do this. Like there's this other book I have that is called Feeding You Lies. I haven't read it all yet, but I want to talk about that on the podcast when I finish it. But anyways, he wanted to start this trend where he walked into the store and he went and looked at like 3 different packages that are marketed as healthy and shows how much sugar is in them. And he's like, go do this in your local supermarket and post it on, because he said the big food companies don't want you to know this. And he went and looked at like Nutella, which is like, Nutella, put it on your toast in the morning, makes for a good breakfast. BS. That is some BS. That is not breakfast food. That is candy, straight up. That is a dessert.
I've basically had to eliminate cereal because if you want to eat cereal, that's basically it for the day. Like
Yeah.
that's your treat. And for me, I'm like, I'd rather have like a donut or ice cream. Like if I'm gonna have a treat, I don't want it to be a fruit snack. So
Right in the
I
morning.
don't want it to be cereal. And so it's like cool. It's almost made me like, all right, I'm gonna make it like super meaningful. Whatever sugar I'm gonna eat today,
Yeah.
it's gonna be freaking good. It's not gonna be
Super good.
this crappy Tootsie Roll that's been in the drawer for 6 years, and
Yeah,
it's
dude.
like,
And it tastes the exact same because of all the crap in it. Tootsie Rolls last forever.
yeah, it's like I'm gonna eat my mom's fresh cookies, or I'm gonna go to
Yes.
Yogurt Land, and I'm gonna, whatever.
I'm gonna go on a date and eat like the smallest cup of Yogurt Land, but I'm gonna enjoy it so much more than if I
Right.
was just, you know,
Eating a whole
being
pack of
gluttonous.
Oreos.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, dude. And then once you start tracking your sugar, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, why was I making this such a big deal? This is so easy.
Right.
And yeah, dude, it's like, oh, I just look at how much, now that I've like officially been off sugar for almost this whole year, because I watched that sugar film, and Riley and I already weren't eating a lot of sugar. We were already but we were probably hovering around 40 to 60 grams a day. And anyways, watched that sugar film. I was like, yeah, no, I'm done. I'm done with sugar. Like for reals, deciding done with sugar. It's crap. And yeah, like my mom made fresh cookies 2 months ago and we were over at her house and I ate 2 of them, which ended up being about 20 grams. And I was like, this is so
Yeah.
good. And I didn't feel bad. It's not like I was beating myself
Right.
up. I was like, this is so good. Oh my gosh. but I don't eat a lot of sugar, so this tastes amazing. And then when I do eat a lot of sugar, I think I mentioned that when I went camping, I ate a ton of sugar one morning, easily had probably 60 grams in the morning. I felt like crap, and I was like, oh yeah, this is why I don't eat sugar.
On fast Sunday, I didn't, so like 2 days ago, I
Yeah,
didn't eat until like 8 o'clock because I was like, I had been out and my boss texted me like, I don't he texted me like at 5, like, hey, we need you to come in for a seminary orientation thing in like 45 minutes. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not eating dinner. And then afterwards I had to go. I lost, anyways, long story short, I didn't get home until like 8 o'clock. And I like, my dad was making dinner or whatever, or they were like had just finished eating dinner. And so
yeah.
they were like getting it ready. So I still had like 15 minutes left, but I'm like, dude, I'm so freaking hungry right now. So I like ate like 2 cookies that my mom made. And I think that day I went over on 40 grams because I was so
Mm.
freaking hungry. I think I was like maybe 50, but like barely. Anyways, but I had like a headache, and I'm sure like part
That's
of
what
it had
happens
to.
to
I'm
me.
sure part of it had to do with not eating and then having a ton of sugar be part of that. But I
Yeah.
think it was just kind of interesting. I was like, I don't think I've had one of these headaches in a while. It's just kind
Hmm.
of interesting how that happened. It's like, dang, like it's pretty immediate impact that eating a lot of sugar has. So
Yeah, and the dude, I don't know about other people, but how do I explain this? Easy. So, in order to do something hard, if you know why you're doing it, it's easy. So,
right,
like with sugar, if I'm just like, so say you're a person who knows nothing about the detriments of sugar, and I'm like, hey, quit sugar, it'll be better for you. You're like, it'll be better for me. Like that's the only reason. And you may try and you're not going to last, but if you look up the studies and read the clinical literature of like what happens to you if you're eating a lot of sugar, go watch that sugar film, go read up on it. You're like, I never want to go over 40 grams ever again. Like this is horrible. And okay, so I was going to look this up. The World Health Organization, um
well,
this
just
was
while you're looking that up, I have an example of what you're just saying. Like my barber, he's like super like, his wife like only eats like vegetables or like fruits, like nothing like at all from animals. What's that called? Is that
vegan,
vegan? Just straight up
vegan.
vegan. And
Yeah.
anyway, so she's like super hardcore on it, like no plastics, no like, and it's cool. Like,
Yeah.
you can see that. And he's like, I'm not that extreme, but he tries to be pretty healthy. But he was just like talking to me about some of the like chicken plants where a lot of our chicken comes from. And like it's just like, for me, he talked about like Tyson's chicken and just like the what's going on there. And I that's what I've been using for my salads, was the like
Oh,
chicken. And I was like, he told me, I'm like, I'm never even
you
like
know what it is? Dude, it's literally a corn breast. It's not a chicken breast. The chicken are eating corn. Chickens are evolved to eat bugs. They eat bugs. And if you get a chicken from an organic farm who lets the chicken go off and eat bugs, that chicken breast is going to supply you with a lot of nutrients. But if you go by the way, I think
also,
it's, sorry, what?
yeah, no, I was just gonna say the way that the chickens are living. He talked about how they pump them so full of hormones and just how big they get.
Oh,
He's like
dude,
employees have got fired because like obviously like they've leaked, or I don't know if they've got fired, but there's been leaked videos of like their
oh, they get
plants and
fired. Bye
stuff.
bye.
Yeah, and it's like the chickens are so fat that they can't walk, and so they're just living
They
in their own
break their little
feces.
legs. Their little legs snap because they're so heavy. Because a little chick hatches, and from week 1 to 4, it's a full grown hen, and it's actually weighs like 25% more than a normal hen if it was just eating bugs. But it grew up in a month. That's not normal. I think it's typically
Right.
supposed to take like 8 weeks. So so you look at it from an economical point of view, you're like, this makes perfect sense. Make the chickens faster, make more of them. There's no sunlight. The chickens don't get any sunlight. I've watched a documentary on this. A Tyson plant doesn't allow the chickens to have sunlight. It has to be all blocked off. They're all next to each other, and they just pump them full of hormones. and steroids.
How
And
gross
so,
is that? That's the chicken you're eating, and they're living in their poop. It's almost like poop chicken.
well,
Like,
and then yeah, and then where those hormones and steroids, where do you think they went? They're still in the chicken. Like for some reason we think, oh, they're probably gone. It's like, no, they're still in there. We need to do a whole podcast on food.
they evaporated.
Oh yeah, no, they're gone. And people will try to tell you that this is all BS, and it's like, don't listen to those people. They're so annoying. Um, I think it's something like this: something like 80 to 90% of the chicken you eat from the grocery store and in restaurants comes from 4 companies. That's it. 4 companies. Tyson's one of them. There's 3 others. I can't remember what they're called. I can do more research and we could do a whole episode on this.
Yeah,
But
I'll
there's
write that down.
there's only 4 companies supplying 90% of the country's chicken. And guess how they're treating their chickens, man? Not good. They're feeding them corn. They're feeding them soy. Why? Because corn and soy are super easy and cheap to grow. Same with cows. I'm not even going to get into cows because we can just save that for another episode. If I highly, 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 highly recommend you eat grass-fed organic beef. It sounds so cliche and cheesy and white girlish, but it's like, do it. Go do the research. Yeah, basic. I'm eating my grass-fed. I will pay a lot more money to eat healthy. I will 100%. I will go to the ends of the earth to buy organic vegetables. If it's at the end of the day and we hurry and need something, I'll make exceptions here and there. But if I can, I will pay more money because to me, it's just ridiculous that
LeBron James and Russell Wilson, these athletes, they spend $1 million on their body every year. It's like, all right, well, obviously we don't have the funds to do that, but it's like the people that are at the peak of health in the world, look how much they have to invest into your money. Do you think you're going to be able to be healthy without investing in yourself? Probably not.
Yeah, and you know what I believe? I firmly have this belief. The money will be there for my health. And that's not just something I say to myself. That's something I actually believe. Like, it's not just an affirmation. Oh, the money will be there. The money will be there. It's like, I 110% believe that the money will be there for my health. So like Riley and I started celery juicing. If I want to buy, I think it's not as expensive as you would think.
Yeah.
But at Costco, you can buy a bunch of organic celery. And I just like took the whole box. I asked the lady, I was like, can I take this whole box? She's like, yeah, that's fine. There was 10 big bundles of celery, 1 bag of celery.
Some little
at
kids like,
Costco.
Mom, what is that guy buying
Why
so much
is-
rabbit food?
I'm like, peace. I'm basic doing celery juicing, but it's like
Grass-fed celery.
grass-fed celery. Don't at me.
I bet you some woke white girl has posted that before. Just ate my grass-fed celery.
You know what's funny is I probably guarantee that happened just because of 8 billion people almost on the earth. Bunch of idiots. Some idiot has found to do that, man. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm like, okay, I bought 10 things of celery, and at the Costco, so we drink 16 ounces of celery juice. So one of the bags of organic celery from Costco makes 28 ounces. So enough for me and Riley.
Okay.
And so we got 10, so that's 20 days. It was $50. It was 49, blah, blah, blah. So $50 for almost just shy of 2 weeks of celery juicing for 2 people. And so some people will be like, dude, you're crazy. How much money is that a year? I'm like, I do not care how much money it is a year. I do not care how much the grass-fed organic beef is. I do not care how much blah, 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 blah. I do not care if frozen pizzas are cheaper. I don't care. I'm driving all the way to frickin' Ogden to Costco so I can get the good chicken. I'm not going to Target unless it's an emergency and I need to go get the chicken right now. I'm going to go out of my way and pay more money for the good product. And here's what's funny is the guy who wrote this book, Eat Smarter, Sean Stevenson, such a good podcast that he has. It's called The Model Health Show. Go listen to it. But he said, he explains in the book, he's like, someone explained this to me. To make processed food, you have to buy all these different chemicals, and then you have to get all these different foods from all these different plants, and you're shipping tons of stuff in. Like when I said plants, I meant like different food factories. So you're shipping all this stuff in, you're going through this super intricate process, like Doritos. How many ingredients are in Doritos? So many. It's like the process to make a Dorito is so complex. There's robots, employees, everything has to be perfect. They've literally engineered it to taste so good that you can't stop eating it. And he's like, $3 for a family size bag. Avocado falls off a tree. $5 for one avocado. someone explain this to me so I can get a whole bag of chips that's like 1,000 calories for $3, and then I can get one organic avocado from a California grown humble farm, and it's 550, and all they had to do was pour some water on it, and then it fell off the tree like there was, and I'm like, yeah, what the heck? But it's worth it. It's totally worth it, because it's like, dude, money comes, money goes, money ebbs, money flows. Health should be your number one priority. And I heard this quote, I think maybe I mentioned it to you. Health, health can either be your priority right now, or when you're 80 years old, almost about to die. And it's and literally it's forced to be your priority. It's like, no, I'd rather choose it to be my priority. And when you start getting into it, you actually start falling in love with the process. You really do, because you start to feel good. And every once in a while, you're a human, you're imperfect. I got a really bad migraine last weekend. I was out for like 2.5 days. I still have a headache, but for the most part, I'm fine. But it's like, so you're still going to have ailments going to come up. You may get a cold here and there.
But that's the randomness of life. Like it's
there's just, it's too complex to completely stay perfect. But it's like, you're going to feel so much better, much better mentally, spiritually, physically, on and on and on. Anyways.
Well, I look at it's just funny, like my mom's parents, they were always known as the weird healthy grandparents. Like like I remember one time we went over for a sleepover. My mom didn't let us do like sleepovers all that often. It was like only with cousins. And so there's one time we were sleeping over at grandma's, and she made us like corn pizza. Like she put corn on the pizza, and I was like, "Are you kidding me, grandma? Like what the heck is this?" And another time she put oysters on the freaking pizza. I was like, we all ended up throwing up and going home. But anyway, so like that was just like my experience growing up. But it was like my mom was like, that's been them their whole lives, like just super healthy, like just making sure they're taking care of their bodies. I don't know if it's because they couldn't afford, you know, to buy fancy stuff or whatever, and they just had to get by with the basics. But like they're super healthy, and it's like crazy. Like obviously, like your body deteriorates at some point, but like they
Like,
were
you're gonna
both
die.
like, yeah, they were. I mean, my grandpa passed away for 5-6 years ago. But like both him and my grandma were like super healthy going into their 80s, and it's like it was like crazy, like like to kind of see that. I didn't really see them, when they were younger and stuff, but it's like a testament to me. It's like, oh, okay, like you do take care of your body, you're gonna be able to be healthier versus other old people that we've either met on our missions or in our personal lives. They're 50 and they got like the body of a
Oh,
100-year-old, and you're just like,
they have so many pills, dude.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Everybody, the pharmacology companies are after your money, so don't give it to them. Seriously, I could talk about that forever too. Anyways, just real fast, the World Health Organization posted this article. I'm sure they've talked about it before. This was a news release that they released in March 4th, 2015. They had been doing a ton of studies about sugar. They said, quote, "We have solid evidence that keeping intake of free sugars to less than 10% of total energy intake reduces the risk of overweight, obesity, and tooth decay," says Dr. Francesco Branca, director of WHO's Department of Nutrition for Health and Development. Quote, "Making policy changes to support this will be key if countries are to live up to their commitments to reduce the burden of non-communicable diseases." End quote there. Going down, this is still in the article, not a quote of that doctor, but just in the article, it says, "Much of the sugars consumed today are hidden in processed foods that are not usually seen as sweets. For example, 1 tablespoon of ketchup contains about 4 grams of sugar." Who puts a tablespoon of ketchup on their hot dog or burger? Nobody, unless you're a freaking weirdo. You put a ton, you're just like, dude, you're probably getting 15 grams of sugar in your ketchup. You're not thinking about this. Barbecue sauce has even more. By the way, about 4 grams is about 1 teaspoon.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. A single can of sugar sweetened soda contains up to 40 grams, which is 10 teaspoons of free sugar.
That's just what's insane to me. Like when you think of
Oh
like,
my gosh. One 12-ounce can, and most people are drinking sodas in the morning. Like at my work, everyone's drinking a soda in the morning, and I'm like, there's your sugar allotment, all in the first 10 minutes of the day.
Yeah, I just like if you put 40 grams of sugar, like not that I mean like whatever, like to each their own, but like each can of like not sugar-free Monster, and obviously there's cons to drinking sugar-free stuff, but it's like
Yeah,
um
artificial sweeteners.
but it's like if you put 51 grams of sugar on the table, just pure sugar, like you probably wouldn't even be able to eat it, like, and so like it's
Be
kind of
like, what
crazy to
the
think that people just do that every day, just like you're just spooning that much. Yeah, it's
dude?
crazy.
Yeah, not to mention that sugar has, oh, how many names? I might be overshooting this. I can look it up and talk about it in a future podcast. I I was gonna say 400. I don't think it's that high. I think it's over 40 different names that sugar goes by on food labeling, and some of them it'll say like brown molasses or something like that. Don't at me on that, but I'm something like that where you're like reading the ingredients. Oh, there's no sugar in it, and you buy it, and it's like no, it has a ton. Anyways, worldwide intake of oh gosh. Okay, worldwide intake of free sugars varies by age, setting, and country. In Europe, intake in adults ranges from, that's probably not true. Everyone acts like Europe is perfect. It's like, come on, guys. They're not that far behind America. Let's not kid ourselves. Go to the UK. You'll be like, this is very similar to America in a lot of ways. It's not like it's some beautiful land out there that's perfect. So I don't know. That kind of bugs me when people get super ideological and they're like, America this, America that. And I'm like, I understand. Like, America's health is doo doo. And I think it is the worst in the world. Like, you could definitely argue that and show that with statistics. But it's like, Australia's right there with us. The guy who made that sugar film, he's born and raised in Australia. And Australia has just as bad as obesity rates as us. You go to the UK. I had a buddy serve his mission in Germany. I'm like, what's Germany like health wise, stuff like that? Well, yeah, everyone's eating crap. Processed food is everywhere.
Right.
So and see, it's not the country's fault, it's the processed food. But let me see. Anyways, they ended up saying in here, reducing sugars intake to less than 10% of total energy, a strong recommendation. They go down here, they say um anyways, they end up saying that you should limit it to maximum 10 teaspoons of sugar a day. That's 40 grams. They say, but really we recommend 20 grams, so 5 teaspoons. And so and obviously there's days where you're gonna have more, you're gonna go out and celebrate and have some cake and ice cream or whatever, but you'll start to learn that keeping it under 10 teaspoons is actually easier than you think. You just stop drinking soda, you just stop eating your cereal in the morning, you stop putting so much ketchup on your freaking hot dog. Like, not as hard as you think. Very
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah, no. And I mean, like I don't expect to see, crazy immediate impacts, but it's like what we always talk about, I'm sure over time it's gonna, you know, be better for my health, even if it's something I can't see for 20, even if I just want to keep my teeth nice,
Oh yeah,
like
because that's one of the big arguments in that sugar film is the teeth thing. Because it's true. It's like people who are just always chomping on sugar, their teeth start to deteriorate. And that, dude, you just said something that was extremely profound. So you said like you're not going to see immediate changes, right? I don't. I've been drinking celery juice for 2 weeks now in the mornings, something like that, and like I, for the most part, feel about the same. But here's the thing: it's the same for the other way. You don't start seeing these diseases instantly until you're about 40. You know something, dude, this statistic is absolutely ridiculous. Something like 40% of Americans have one chronic disease, or no, it's like something like 60-70% of Americans have one chronic disease, 40% have two chronic diseases at one time, 20% have three or more. It's crazy. And so it's like, and people are starting to get these in their 30s and 40s, but it's like, yeah, when you're 20, bro, all the dudes at my work, they eat like tosh, tosh. That's a British word, means crap. They're eating like tosh, and dude, they feel fine. They're all athletic, they go to the gym, they go boating all the time, they play golf. Like, it's not like they're bums,
right.
and they feel, for the most part, they feel pretty fine. But it's like, yeah, but wait till you're 40 and you go get your yearly physical and your doctor says, oh, your blood pressure's really screwed up and you have pre-diabetes. Wait until that happens. But if I, I get made fun of for eating healthy. I don't care. I actually kind of think it's funny. Um, People will be like, "What? You're not going to come out to eat with us?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good. Like I got leftovers at home. Not a big deal, man." And they'll give me a hard time, which it's fine. I honestly don't care. But it's like, yeah, you give me a hard time. Like I'm not going to have diabetes. I mean, most people get diabetes in this country. I'm not going to have heart disease. I'm not going to have metabolic diseases. I'm not going to have cancers or anything like that because I do prioritize my health. And why would I be ashamed of that? It's not like I'm ashamed of that. It's not like I'm like, oh yeah, guys, sorry, like I don't eat fast food. Like, sorry. It's like, no, yeah, I don't eat fast food. Like, I don't care if you do. Like you said,
Right.
you said something like more power to you or to whatever.
Everyone, you,
Yeah, to
you,
each his
yeah,
own.
yeah.
To each his own. Do what you think is right. I'm just sharing what's right for me and what I found, and hopefully you can find some truth in it and be like, huh, maybe I do eat too much sugar. Huh, maybe I should stop drinking a Red Bull every day. Huh, maybe I should stop drinking the 2 Mountain Dews every day. Like one of my coworkers left today before lunch, and he said, "See you guys. I'm gonna go home." And then he said, "I'm gonna go eat pizza rolls and root beer and drink root beer." And I was like, "Oh, that's not good." But it's like to each his own. Cool,
Right.
whatever. I'm not judging you. I am judging you, but I'm not like, I don't think you're less of a human, is what I mean. I'm
Right.
not judging you in that way. I'm judging you in like, if I was you, I'd eat healthier, but I don't think you're any less of a dude because, or of a person because you're eating unhealthy. Not by any means. I don't think you're any less of a person if you don't work out. I don't think you're any less of a person if you don't read or pray or whatever. But just,
Right.
this is just some things that I've found to be very helpful for me. And the evidence is very clear that if you stop eating sugar, that you can really extremely reduce your risk of all these diseases that are plaguing our Western civilization, plaguing them. And guess what? They started propping up when sugar started getting more widely produced. No one had diabetes really. Diabetes was extremely rare in the 1700s, early 1800s. Very, very rare. Heart disease, very, very rare. Even cancers were a lot more rare. Obviously, we couldn't diagnose them as much,
Right.
so who knows? But heart disease, very, very rare. Deaths by heart attacks, things like this, very rare. Stress is a big part of it too. I'm not saying it's all sugar. Sugar's just a part of it.
Right.
So don't get your panties in a wad. But it's just sugar is a big part of it. You can look at when sugar started to get put in food more, and then it got really, really bad, like in the 90s, in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, because for some reason somebody thought that fat equals fat, and so they took fat out of food. And when you take fat out of food, it tastes like crap. So what do you do to make it taste better? You put corn syrup in it, you put sugar in it, and it tastes good again. And then they say, oh, low fat food is healthy for you. It's like, no, like I eat bacon every day because it's got fat and I need the fat. Fat doesn't make you fat. That's like saying blueberries make you blue. They don't. So it's just funny how we were like, fat equals, it makes you fat. That's why everyone's getting fat. It's because we're eating a lot of fat. Everyone eat low fat, get low fat yogurt, low fat milk, low fat chicken, low fat beef. It's like, no, 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 no. It's not the fat. There's certain fats that will do that.
Right.
But the fat that we're talking about, the fat that's in dairy, the fat that's in meat, the fat that's in, like everyone's like, oh yeah, avocados, healthy fats. Yeah, healthy fats. There's such thing. And we took them all out of food and put a sugar in it. And then guess what? We told everyone to work out. Dude, I'm getting ahead of myself. We need to save this for something else. I'm sorry.
No, I just think it's like when we talk about this, this is obviously like a completely different conversation,
This
but
is not
it
what we
just,
had planned.
yeah, no, it just baffles me how, like, like you just think about how many people suffer and die and pass away from heart disease every year, and it's like,
Dude,
why don't we make that a pandemic? Like, why doesn't the government, why don't we take this more seriously, because it's killing more people than freaking, I mean, COVID-19 is real. It's a real virus. I
we're
understand,
not
but it,
radicals who are like
right,
blah, 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 blah. But it's
but
just,
it's
you
just
got a good point.
crazy, right? Like, why, like, and I've had that thought since like the beginning. It's like, how many people die driving on the roads? Like, why don't we like try and figure out that problem? Like, it's eliminating a lot more people. Anyways, it's just like, yeah, it's just,
Well,
yeah.
think about this. There's a lot of conspiracies out there, but I think some of the with the food companies, the more I'm about to read this book, like I said, I've started it, but it's called Feeding You Lies. It's this lady. She started this company who I buy my omega-3 supplement through, Truvani, all organic, really well sourced, amazing company. If you want to get supplements, go through Truvani, Truvani. Guess what? It's more expensive. Guess why? Higher quality, worth it. Like I just dropped $70 on omega-3s, 2 bottles. It's going to last me 2 months. So, but $70 for every 2 months, worth it to me? Yes.
I mean, people probably spend $70 on fast food a month anyways. So.
Oh yeah, totally. Like how much money do you average spend on lunch if you're somebody who goes out to with your buddies for lunch every day?
Probably between $5 and $10. Like
I would say 5 and 15.
Yeah.
I would say some days you're probably going to go cheap and you're going to get $5, but probably $10 most days. $8.
If you want a good meal, you're probably gonna have, unless it's Taco Bell, you do the 6 for $6 on the dollar menu.
Yeah, like you're gonna have those days where you go to Taco Bell and get some real cheap stuff or whatever, but it's like dude,
even Chick-fil-A is like $8-9 every time.
Yeah, and it's like, well, guess what? Oh, and dude, the whole argument about like Chick-fil-A being a healthy fast food, get out of here. It's fast food. It's not healthy. Get that crap out of here, bro.
Dude, it's healthy. What are you talking about?
It's freaking good, but
yeah.
Anyways,
is it better? Is it better than McDonald's and Wendy's and like obviously like it's not the best food ever, but is it healthier than like kind of that bottom tier fast food, or is it basically the same thing? I'm just curious.
It's basically the same thing because where do they buy their chicken from? Those 4 giant companies. They all buy all the fast food restaurants, all the restaurants too. They're buying their chicken. Most restaurants. There are some organic restaurants or some locally sourced restaurants, but those 4 giant chicken companies, they're selling to the McDonald's, they're selling to the Chick-fil-A's, and Chick-fil-A tries to be like, oh yeah, but we got like the full chicken breasts, so we're better. It's like, so I don't know what that chicken probably. Oh, but I do think Chick-fil-A. Okay, I take that back. Chick-fil-A is a little bit better because I think they made a deal a few years back that they would use chicken that wasn't raised with hormones, which is pretty cool because they actually had like over 100,000 people or something like that. Maybe not that many, but a bunch of people signed a petition saying, hey, you should take. Hi, Riley's here.
What's up?
What? Yeah. They said that they would take, that they would source their chicken without hormones. Anyway, so Chick-fil-A is a little bit better. Very minuscule. Still not good. But if you're on the road, you're on a road trip, you got to eat lunch. There's a Chick-fil-A and a McDonald's. Yeah, go to Chick-fil-A any day.
And Chick-fil-A, they pay their tithing. So
and they're closed on Sunday.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, dude. No, I do. I Chick-fil-A definitely much better option. Still sucks.
And
anyways,
business model pristine, amazing.
Oh, business model amazing. There's a reason they're so successful. There's a reason their employees don't absolutely hate their lives. But anyways, what I was gonna say is, think about this. So I was listening to a podcast by Russell Brand the other day. Russell Brand's amazing. He said
he was an actor, right?
Yeah, he was. He
is an actor type.
Okay. Yeah, he runs his own podcast now. Has been for a few years, but he said every problem's not a problem for someone. He said cancer, heart disease, diabetes, not a problem for the pharmaceutical companies. Good for the pharmaceutical companies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, more people with diabetes, more money. Oh, more cancer, more chemo, more money. Oh, more heart disease. Oh, more high blood pressure, more money. So to them, that's good. You know, for the big food companies, they don't care about your health. They could not care less. And in fact, they are paying people tons of money to go push propaganda that their food's not dangerous. Coca-Cola does this all the time. Coca-Cola, I kind of hate Coke. That's a strong word, but I do. I think I kind of hate Coca-Cola because they're constantly, their ads, they're just completely pushing all this narrative that, oh, you drink a Coke a day, you're fine. It's cool. It's not a big deal. And it's like, dude, it's a big deal. But I understand they're trying to make money. So more power to them for as far as I'm concerned. Yeah,
I mean, they're making money. So
they're making tons of money and they have been forever and they're worldwide now. So it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, they're trying to make money, but there is a point where it's like you are manipulating a lot of people, big food companies, and it's kind of messed up. but I do get your rights. Like, yeah, you have the right to market however you want, even if you're
Right.
completely lying. So I get that, but I also get the argument where it's like, yeah, but you're killing tons of people and we have this pandemic of obesity, which is causing all these diseases. And I'm like, yeah, I get that too. So that's why I think it would be fun for us to just go to the store and go look
Yeah.
at some healthy option food and just look at how much sugar's in it and things like that.
We could each go to like a different store. Like one could go to Walmart, one could go to Target
I'll
or
go to Target because Target's often
Costco.
known for healthy food. And so it's like,
We
hey,
could
I'll
go to
show you.
Harmon's. I got a Harmon's right by my
Oh, nice.
house.
Yeah, I don't have a Harmon's by
Oh,
me.
that's quote unquote healthy, and I'm sure they do have healthier options.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, yeah, it's just crazy to me how like I don't know how you can't see through it a lot of the times because it's like I don't know, like you just look at I've done a lot of research just on COVID and stuff like that, and so that's just what comes to my mind. But it's
Oh, yeah. If you trust
like
the government right now, you're
60 to 80% of like people that died from COVID had diabetes or like heart issues. It's like, all right, there's probably like a correlation that's the bigger issue. That's not, obviously like we said, like it's like COVID is a real deal. Like, but it's like, there's a bigger issue here at hand, and it's just crazy how like how can you trust, whether it's, high up, you know, pharmacy people or whatever
mm.
when the first response when you say my back is hurting, when they say go take these pills instead of maybe
You
try
had an
physical
experience like that, huh?
yeah, I hurt my back, and obviously, like, it's just my one scenario, but I'm sure it's happened to other people. But like, I called my hemophilia doctor and was like, hey man, like I hurt my back playing basketball. Just thought I'd let you know, like, is there anything I need to do? And they're like, yeah, let's prescribe you some pain meds. I'm like, what are you? I was like, I don't need pain. I need to go to physical therapy. Or it's like,
Yeah.
like people that have mental illness, or people that you know whatever might, like, gut issues or are sick. It's like,
Mm.
let's just pump you full of medicine instead of let's try and figure out if there's anything outside of that realm that makes you sick. And obviously there's medicine that's good. I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for my factor
Yeah,
medicine.
Carter would literally be a dead man if he didn't have the hemophilia medicine.
Right. And so it's like I feel weird saying that, but it's like there are like I like it's just I when President Nelson, and obviously I'm not trying to like turn this into like a political thing, but when he talked about it's going to be impossible to survive spiritually without being able to receive personal revelation in these last days, he's like being for real. And I think obviously it's different for everyone. Like everyone's going to take it, to their own. It's personal revelation. It's for you, and it's just like interesting to like see that starting to come true. Like you're going to have to be able to look through and see through some pretty hard and complex things with a lot of the world coming against you. Like Satan is going ham right now in whatever way he can get you. If he can get you to eat unhealthy and get super fat and like be able to, like, at 40 basically have your body deteriorating, and you can't, go out and minister the way you're supposed to. You can't go out and, you know be the dad that you need to. And I'm not trying to make people feel bad that do that, because there's always time to change and stuff. But it's like Satan will
Mm-hmm.
will try and get you any way he can. And so for me it's almost like a motivation to, like, all right, I want to figure out the best way to take care of myself in all aspects of my life, because I truly believe that Satan will get you any way he can get you to be like a crazy, like, far rightist. Like he can just get you to go ham on that stuff, and you totally lose your way, where you're just like, President Nelson isn't the prophet because he got the vaccine. It's like, no, that's not, like, like he'll get you any way he can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's just like, I don't know, to me it's motivating to try and like figure out, how to best take care of myself. And like for me, I'm most motivated when it's something spiritual. And so like right now I'm just realizing, it's like, I love how when we talk, I feel like we have breakthroughs probably more so than our audience. But it's like,
For sure. Yeah.
just as I'm talking, it's just like, all things are spiritual. We talk about, never did God give us a commandment that wasn't spiritual. People
Yeah.
think that it's temporal, but it's everything has a spiritual ripple effect. And so to me, it's pretty motivating me right now to, continue to take care of myself, continue to receive personal revelation, and try and, take care of myself in the best way.
Dude, well said. 100%. Yeah. It's all intertwined. And if you want to have a greater capacity for, in my humble opinion, if you want to have a greater capacity for spiritual enlightenment or revelation, then have a healthy body. That's been my experience. When I have a clear mind, when I have a healthy body, I have a clear mind, and I'm able to think more clearly. I'm able to receive what to me has seemed like to be revelation, because it's been spontaneous thought. It's been revelatory thought, where it's like, whoa, where did this come from? I should do this, or whoa, I never thought of that. And so, yeah, really, it's super important. And I guess to wrap up, yeah, we did not. I mean, we even said what we were
I
planning on
don't
talking
even
about at the
know
beginning.
where we went astray, but
I don't know either. But this is what we ended up talking about. So we can, yeah, next time when it's just you and me, which maybe Thursday when we do another one, we can just talk about kind of where you're at in life too, and kind of see where that goes. But yeah, this is where this one went. I would love to dive deeper into this topic, but more clearly.
I wrote a few things down.
Cool,
So
cool.
we can.
Yeah, I will. I want to. No, I kind of want to write an essay on it of sorts, just to kind of organize my thoughts, and that way I can kind of have bullet points just so it's more clear. Today I was just kind of ranting because I do get passionate about this stuff, because it's just, people are being manipulated, and it's their right to know what's going on. And so anyways,
I have a
you have
funny
anything else to say?
story
Yeah.
just to finish up, but for me, like when I started to realize that this was a problem, I was on my mission. We'll have to have this guy on sometime, but he was someone that I taught. Like when I came into the area, he was a yellow dot, so he's a brand new investigator. So I like saw him all the way from there to getting baptized 6 months later. And I just remember we taught him the word of wisdom, and this guy doesn't take anything for face value. He's like, I'm going to figure this out. And he was really frustrating to teach because of that, but he became such a solid convert because of that, because he became so committed. Anyway, so we're teaching him the word of wisdom, and we brought a bigger member with us, and he kind of just took it, the person we were teaching, he just took it, and we were like, oh wow, that like kind of went a lot better than we thought it was going to go, just because every time it was just like, well, why this, and he just kind of took it. And then the next time we go in to teach him, he's like, that word of wisdom stuff is crap. He's like, you guys got so many fat members in your church, nobody takes the word of wisdom seriously. And he was like, sheesh. And I was like, dang, you're kind of right. Like, I remember like writing in my journal, I was like, dude, I think Terry has a point. And I'm like, obviously I'm not like, the word of wisdom needs to be changed, whatever. But it was like, he was like, it was so funny. He was like, if your body's like, you're supposed to treat your body like a temple, but most people are treating it like a McDonald's. And I was just like, dang, like and he wasn't like a super like active, healthy, like he was just like a normal dude, but it was just like so profound to me to be like, oh wow, like I really like, this is a spiritual law. And it was like really like eye-opening for me to be like, dang, like, am I treating my body like McDonald's, or am I treating it like a temple? And that, maybe that's the question we end with, is what are you treating your body like? Are you treating it like a McDonald's, or are you treating it like a Chick-fil-A, maybe a little bit better?
Yeah, Chick-fil-A's kind of like top, a little bit better, getting closer.
But, or are you treating
we just compared Chick-fil-A to the temple. Pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, it goes Chick-fil-A, Raider Stadium, then the temple. So it's,
dude, the new Raider Stadium is awesome. That is
so sick.
You guys are gonna go to some games, right? Or at least one.
We're going. BYU's playing there in September, so they're playing Arizona. So we're gonna go for that one. But just for frame of reference, a preseason game was about $160 per ticket.
And probably not very good seats.
Probably not very good seats, and you're not even going to see the good players really playing. So I don't know if we'll be going this season, just because it's inaugural season and stuff like that. But at some point we will start going more frequently, because that's part of the reason we moved to St. George. So anyways, I could talk about football all day. But are you treating your body like a temple or McDonald's? That's the question we leave with you today.
Ask yourself.
A&L Nation.
We love y'all. Bye.
Love you. Bye.